And we got about a half a dozen members from each of our two congregations to brown bag it for lunch and to come to the Chicago Temple building and do Bible study and conversation together.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, here we are. And it was for such an honest description of how the church can work. But also, there's still people today who remember having been part of those groups and having that kind of conversation. So the church in the middle of the city, the Chicago Temple, the Bible is the middle of the discussion. Two congregations that at first sight looked variant. In fact, these were people working, some of them in the same offices. They just didn't know what they had in common. That was really special for me.
And me too. You make me think that there may be a possibility for some more of that.
But one of the things about this congregation is that it really is not simply a standalone congregation in a connection system, but we're sort of the clubhouse for Methodism in the area, and Methodists have been on this corner since the 1830s, and so they're still going to be here when I leave, and they're still going to be here when you leave, and they're still going to be here. We want to say, now, what is the power of having a central position, geographically as well as I think theologically in a lot of other ways? How can we make that to our advantage and to the city's advantage?
Well, given the divisions within the city and with the suburbs, maybe it offers an opportunity for us to do some more of those dialogues with folks, dialogues with persons from our own denomination, as well as dialogues with others from other denominations and even interfaith. If we can provide a setting where people can come and just connect and talk in a non-threatening way, perhaps we can help in the healing of this area.
Well, you were district superintendent in our conference for a few years, and so you know the territory.
Yes. And, you know, certainly some of the lines have changed, but in many ways, even though I've been away, I do keep up with the news somewhat. A lot of the divisions are there, especially when you get into pockets that are economically different, the movement of immigrant populations. They may have changed, but some of the same concerns.
Mm-hmm. Our bishop, Sally Dick, has worked on an urban initiative for all of our churches, not only in the city, but also in the near suburban area. And she's looking at issues of violence and poverty and food distribution and all. And this would be a marvelous time for you and the congregation to get informed and on board, as has already started, but it's a key range of issues that the conference has identified.
That's quite a challenge for this church in terms of there are no schools right close, but certainly in dialoguing with you and some of the members last night, there might be an opportunity for us to help other congregations with our members dispersed across the city.
When you're talking about Chicago Public Schools, the advantage we have is that we're not talking about a single school in a single corner in a single neighborhood. We have to be able to speak across the city from all the different zip codes and all the different layers of the system, from the students, parents, teachers, administrators. So while on the one hand we can't have the kind of local power of a local public school, we do have the ear of a lot of people right here in the middle of the city who are making decisions at City Hall and at the Chicago Public School System.
And we may have the opportunity to have a better pulse of what's going on throughout the whole system. You know, if we can get our members who could be connected to then dialogue together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For the last 10 years, you were president of one of our seminaries. Yes. And that accounts for you having been out of the city for 10 years and now you're back. What do you think you learned there that will help you here?
Well, certainly the administration of the church, I think fundraising, issues of development, being aware of what's going on in seminaries, perhaps finding a way that I've always had an interest in churches connecting with seminaries. What can we do to really help prepare persons for ministry? And I think this is an excellent location for folks to get a real insight of what urban ministry is like. And I'm hoping that we can make some connections in that regard.
Well, I sense that the ministry here is about ready to really blossom. I think we've done a lot of things, and I'm excited about what we've done. But I can imagine that there could be an incremental expansion, enrichment of the ministry coming out of this congregation, because I think there's a pretty firm base and a wonderful population of members of the church and constituents. And I really think that some great things can happen.
Well, I think you and those who came before you have laid an excellent base for us to build on, and my God, I hope we can continue to move forward as a congregation.